A very good morning to everyone who's joining us. It is indeed a very fine morning, coming to you live from the beautiful city of Kandy. You could see, those houses, resorts, hotels all behind me to give you, an idea of the beauty of Kandy. One frame is never going to do justice to the beauty of this place, but it indeed is one of the most picturesque places that you can ever visit. This is a hill station in Colombo, and there is a Kandy lake down below, and most of the properties that you see are around that lake that you have. And this city is also known for a Buddhist temple, very famous Buddhist temple. But the other bit of news that you can see right now, coming to you live from Kandy, is the skyline. Just take a look at the skyline, and all you see are dark grey clouds. Right, so dark grey clouds in Kandy once again, as they were here yesterday when I arrived. And this is the particular video that I'm going to do, which is going to explain. There is a bit of confusion over the weather, so I have got good news for you, because you must have been seeing a lot of reportage on the weather or what might be the weather like in the India-Pakistan game, and I know all of you have got your fingers crossed. But I'm going to clear a lot of confusion about the weather in this particular video, as well as tell you what the Indian team is going to be doing today. So both India and Pakistan are going to be practicing. What time is the press conference, all of that information I'd like to give you. But first, let's talk about the weather confusion. So yesterday when I arrived here, it had been raining non-stop in Colombo, and throughout the three and a half hour journey from Colombo to Kandy, there was only rain. In fact, in Kandy also, just when I reached, the weather or the rain gods had subsided, but it had rained through the day in Kandy as well. Now what's interesting is, I'm telling you that it rained a lot in Kandy yesterday, and yet there was a game here in Palakele between the host nation Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, and that match happened without any interruption. So what is the issue here? And that is what I'm trying to explain to you. Now you got to remember, Kandy, where I am right now, this is the big town, this is the tourist town, this is where Indian team is staying, this is where the Pakistan team is staying. But the matches are taking place in Palakele. Palakele is about half an hour's drive from Kandy, about between 20 minutes to 30 minutes. To give you a parallel, something like, you're in Delhi and going to Noida, or you're in Delhi going to Gurgaon, something like that, or you're in Hyderabad going to Secunderabad. All I'm saying is, it's on the outskirts, it's not in the main town, and that's where a lot of confusion lies. Now, if you have checked the weather apps, you must have seen in the weather apps and everyone telling you that on the day of the India-Pakistan match, there is going to be rain from 2 o'clock local time, and now local time for Sri Lanka and India is exactly the same. So 2 o'clock local time, match starts at 3, so most weather apps are telling you that the start will be delayed, and then it will rain till 5 o'clock, then the rain will subside, then you can have some cricket, and then there is rain expected late at night at 11. So you might get a game, but you might get a shortened game. That is what the weather apps or the weather prediction or the Met department is telling you right now when it comes to the weather of Kandy. But here's the interesting bit that I'd want to let you know. Most weather apps, most information that you're getting on the weather is Kandy based. This town, Kandy town's weather update. However, the games are happening in Palakele, they're not happening, there is a international cricket ground in Kandy, they're not happening here, they're happening in Palakele, which is why yesterday, while it was raining in Kandy throughout the day, you had a game in Palakele between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. So that is what I'm saying, that is a silver lining. That is a bit of good news that I'm telling you, that Palakele as an area is usually very dry. It does not receive a lot of rainfall. As you know, like again, I'm giving you the Delhi-Noida comparison. There are certain days that it's raining in Delhi but does not rain in Noida, and vice versa. Or if it's raining in Delhi, not raining in Gurgaon, vice versa. So that is something that is possible, that might just happen here as well. So don't go by the weather predictions, don't go by the weather app, whatever you're saying, because they are actually giving you a weather update of Kandy, but may not rain in Palakele. At the moment, the latest update, as it was yesterday, I showed you the grey dark clouds behind me. It's still like that. It's going to be raining a lot as well. Whether this rain, and you'll get an idea of that sort of a weather, whether this rain will affect the stadium in Palakele. Today I'll have a first hand experience of that, because I will be heading to Palakele in a short while from now, where both teams are going to be practicing. So Indian team and Indian captain Rohit Sharma will do a live press conference, will speak to the media at around 5 p.m. Sri Lanka time, which is the same as India time, half hour difference to Pakistan time. Just after that, about 5:40, in about 40 minutes from that time, you will have a Pakistan press conference of the Pakistan captain Babar Azam. So back to back, both Indian teams and the Pakistan team will come speak to the media. All that information I'm going to relay to you. I'll come live on Sports Today as soon as those press conferences are done. That's one. Secondly, it's going to be interesting. It's quite windy here as well. It's also going to be quite interesting at the time that both teams are going to be practicing together. Very often we've seen one team comes out and practices once they finish their press conference, then they go, then the next team comes. But both teams have decided to practice in the second half under the lights, and I'll give you the reason for that. They want to get used to the conditions here. There have been a few question marks over the visibility of the ball under floodlights here in Palakele, and I think both teams want to come and try that, have a look at those conditions and get used to it, which is why you will, before you actually see an India-Pakistan face-off on the second, you will kind of see India and Pakistan team in the ground. Maybe players might even meet each other at the same time today evening, and we'll try and get you those pictures as well on Sports Today. So don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. So that's going to be happening in the evening. Just because I'm talking about those conditions, and even as I talk, there are a few droplets of water falling, slight drizzle happening here right now in Kandy as I come live to you. Because of these conditions, it's going to be a very important toss in that India versus Pakistan game. Very important toss because of two reasons, and I think it's not going to be an easy decision to make just because of these two contrasting schools of thoughts. One, we've seen in the matches leading up to this that second half, if you're bowling in the second half, there is a lot of swing on offer for most teams. So it's not going to be easy batting in the second half. In fact, even with the spinners yesterday, you saw in the game, there was a lot of drift. So that is something that bowlers will enjoy bowling in the second half. So you would want to ensure that you bat first. The other thing is that here, whatever sort of conditions that we've seen, batting first seems to be the way to go, simply because you've got slower pitches. And in slow pitches, as we've seen in Palakele, it's always good to put runs on the board. And then have, contrary to what happened yesterday, that is because Bangladesh just didn't turn up. But a good batting lineup would want to bat first, put some runs on board, because then on a slower condition, slower pitch, you may not, you may find it tough for teams to be chasing. So that's one thing. However, the contrasting thought is, because as I said, there are chances of rains, there is a possibility that you will have a stop-start sort of a game, which means Duckworth-Lewis will then come into play. And if Duckworth-Lewis comes into play, most teams like to chase. So that's what I'm trying to say. In terms of some cricketing logic, you would want to be batting second, batting first. But in terms of the weather and issues because of the weather and Duckworth-Lewis, you would want to be batting second as well. So that's an issue that both teams will have to deal with. They'll have to probably sit and put their heads together and then make a call. I have a feeling that most teams will go with the second option, that is keeping the weather in mind, because that can suddenly decide the situation of the game. Keeping the weather in mind, might want to chase, even though conventional logic, looking at the pitch and the conditions, might dictate that you bat first. Most teams may want to chase if they were to win the toss. So weather is going to play a crucial role. I see a lot of comments talking about the clouds. Yes, the clouds have now become thicker. They've even come slightly lower down. And now, if you could see little bit of portions of blue when I started the live, they've completely disappeared. Right now, it's completely grey. It's absolutely grey right now, and it is raining a lot. So that's the latest update here from Kandy. Again, for those of you who just joined me asking me about the weather on the match day, just go back to the live when I started, and you'll get an idea of what the weather is going to be like and what is the problem in terms of taking the right decision at the toss, and why there is a lot of confusion about the weather. What people are telling you that might not be true come the 2nd of September match day. So do check out this video where I explain in detail that there might be a lot of good news for most India and Pakistan fans in terms of the game. For the moment, I'm going to sign off, but exactly in an hour from now, about hour and a half from now, I'm going to be coming live once again from Kandy. And that's where I'm going to share a lot of details about the playing 11. There's a lot of interesting aspects about India's playing 11 going into this match. What are the confusion areas and what I think the Indian team might do. But that live is going to be coming your way in about hour and a half from now. Right now it's raining. It started to drizzle here in Kandy. It wasn't the case when I started the live. So I'll see you very soon. Once again in about hour and a half. If you haven't subscribed to Sports Today, make sure you do that. Lots of updates coming throughout this Asia Cup. See you. Bye bye.